Both Liverpool and Chelsea looked to continue their impressive start to the Premier League, but in the end, Liverpool's quick direct attacks proved to be too much for Chelsea's defence, with Salah once again showing everyone why he's the key player in this Liverpool team. Both teams had some really interesting ideas when in possession, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how Chelsea were able to find a very clever exploit to Liverpool's pressing shape, but also how Liverpool were able to expose their defence countless times. Let's take a look. Welcome back to Football Meta. Liverpool will spend another week at the top of the table with Arne Slot's tactics already leaving a big impression. But there are also some big improvements in this Chelsea team, and while they did lose the game, Maresca is certainly giving them more identity, especially when in possession. And it's with Chelsea that we're going to be starting this analysis, because until Liverpool's penalty, Chelsea did see more of the ball and did look slightly more dangerous going forward. Chelsea's 4-2-3-1 formation this season does quickly revert into a 3-2-5, but Maresca is creating this shape in a number of different ways depending on who is playing. In this game, given the double pivot of Caicedo and Lavia, Malo Gusto, who started as the left back, would invert further up the pitch in the half space, closer to Nico Jackson and Sancho out wide. And this chain between Lavia, Gusto and Sancho was arguably Chelsea's most dangerous combinations in the first half. This shape in itself is nothing new, but Chelsea were able to find big gaps thanks to an exploit in Liverpool's pressing shape. As we've seen all season, Liverpool looked to press in a 4-2-4 shape, with the wingers closing off any passes out wide and trying to force long balls by closing off any passes in the centre. But by moving the ball quickly around the back, this shape does leave these spaces completely open for Chelsea to receive the ball. On Chelsea's right, Jones was extremely disciplined, and his fantastic defensive work meant Cole Palmer was not really able to find any time or space on the ball. However, Romeo Lavia was arguably the best player for Chelsea in the first half, and with the defence moving the ball quickly into Lavia, he was able to find Gusto, who nearly always had space away from Gravenberch, to push forward and move the ball into Sancho. From here, Sancho would look to dribble past Trent Alexander-Arnold, with Gusto attacking the half space, or acting as support. And there were a number of different opportunities coming from this position, with a good opportunity created with Gusto able to cross from this position. However, the delivery left a lot to be desired. This meant that Chelsea were able to break past Liverpool's press quite comfortably for the majority of the first half, with big gaps between the midfield and the defensive lines. A clever rotation would also see Jackson drop deep, with Gusto attacking in behind. But while there were these great connecting lanes on the left, the right flank was a lot less effective, with Palmer not having any space to receive the ball, often dropping really far back to try and get time on the ball, meaning Madueke didn't have much support on the flank, and couldn't find the space past the fullback. But the right chain also struggled due to the very cautious defensive role of Reece James, and because he needed to keep a back three, it often meant Chelsea didn't have a quick option for easy circulation around the back, and weren't able to create any meaningful chances from this position. We'll take a look at the changes Chelsea made in the second half to try and address these issues, but Liverpool also found the perfect exploit to Chelsea's defensive shape. And these gaps between midfield and defence are exactly what led to the penalty and the goal in the second half. Liverpool also started their game in a 4-2-3-1, but in Slot's tactics there are a few more rotations that happen in the centre of the pitch, alternating between one or two holding midfielders in the centre, and often getting a lot of numbers forward between the lines, also with Trent Alexander-Arnold pushing up closer to Salah in the half space. The only positions that were essentially fixed were the two wingers in Gakpo and Salah out wide on the flanks. Initially, Liverpool started the game wanting to build from the back and play through midfield, but Chelsea opted for a really well organised man-to-man pressing shape in the first phase of build-up. So when Liverpool attempted quicker passes through the middle, they struggled to create any meaningful chances. For this reason, they quickly changed their approach, and the target then became long direct balls into Salah or Gakpo, with the midfielders and Jota rotating to add more support. We can see Chelsea's aggressive shape here, with Tosin also pushing up on Szoboszlai and not giving him any room to turn. Initially, Liverpool were looking for these passes through the middle, but it wasn't working. So the real danger came as they started going more direct into Salah. This is exactly what led to the penalty, with Chelsea aggressively closing down the defence but leaving big space in midfield that Jones took advantage of, moving it out wide and attacking in behind before being fouled by Colwill. After the penalty, Jota was replaced with Nunes, and Chelsea upped the pressure even more. But this just played into Liverpool's favour, and they just continued to play it over the midfield into the wingers, with Chelsea getting impatient and rushing their plays when in possession. This gap in midfield and these direct balls into the wingers also led to Liverpool's disallowed penalty at the end of the first half. And it was clear Chelsea needed to change their defensive approach to get anything out of this game. And Chelsea did start strong in the second half. Sancho was replaced with Neto, and they got an equaliser very early on, again thanks to this exploit in the space behind Liverpool's front four, who were caught sleeping with Chelsea in possession. A ball from Gusto into Caicedo in the centre, and Jackson perfectly timed his run to get in behind Liverpool's defence. But this didn't last long, and once again Chelsea's defensive shape is proving to be their biggest obstacle this season. Liverpool's second goal was created from a typical overload we see with Slot, in this case with Alexander-Arnold shifting over to the left side of the pitch, creating a big cluster of players and dragging Pedro Neto over. This left a big gap for Salah to receive the ball, and once he moved it onto his left foot, a terrible offside trap and a sleeping defensive line left Jones well onside to put Liverpool 2-1 up. From this moment, it felt like Liverpool didn't really need to go up the gears to stop Chelsea's attacks. Chelsea did make some changes very early on in the second half, with Badiashile, Fernandes and Vega coming on and changing the rotations in the centre, meaning Gusto was now the right back and Fernandes would operate in the left inside channel, with Vega as the double pivot. The biggest chance for Chelsea came in the 70th minute, again with acres of space to exploit behind the first pressing shape, with Neto dribbling inside and finding Palmer, who maybe could have played one more pass into Madueke out wide to get more space to shoot. Overall, I think this game highlights some important points for both teams and managers. On the one hand, Liverpool have the players and the discipline to go very far in this Premier League campaign. While their football in this match wasn't necessarily pretty, they quickly realised that you don't need the most intricate build-up to find space in behind, and Liverpool's long balls from the defensive line are ultimately what led to this win. However, Chelsea did also highlight some gaps that other teams might be able to take advantage of, with their aggressive 4-2-4 defensive shape often leaving the defensive line exposed to quick transitions. On the other hand, whilst Chelsea didn't get the win, there are some positives to take away from this performance, especially compared to previous seasons. And it does seem as if Maresca is giving this team more identity, especially when in possession. However, I ultimately feel that their defense will be their downfall this season, with far too many casual mistakes, both from the goalkeeper and the centre-backs. But it was also a really tough game for Reece James, who seems to have lost a little bit of pace, which is arguably what made him so dangerous in previous seasons. But let me know what you think. Did Liverpool deserve to win this game? And what do you think Chelsea could have done to get more out of this match? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. We're so close to hitting 300,000 subscribers, which is a number that I can't even comprehend. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe and help support the channel. Thanks for watching.